What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Listen up, guys, I've got another good video for you today because what I will be doing is taking you guys behind the scenes of how this week has gone for myself. I did make about 50,000 in profit this week, but it's not just me that made a lot of money this week. It's actually the entire Patreon community. All right, it was a phenomenal week. We took about 3 trades collectively. All 3 trades hit. So honestly, guys, throughout the week, my phone was just pinging off with members, just saying, look, I made 150% on this, I made 100% on that, made 90% on that. So it was an exhilarating week. All right. And what I want to do is give you guys a bit of color on that week, and you guys will learn a lot because we have got 3 different trades to go through. Gives us a lot of talking points, but you guys will learn things like what brokerage I used, which is a very common question, and a lot of you guys want to know what platform you can get yourself set up on so you can start making these types of moves. You guys will learn what contracts were selected in the options market. You guys will learn things like, do I use stop losses and how do I manage that? How long do I hold on to the trade for? And also you guys will see some of the members, some of the profits from the members. I'll show you that as well, because that will act as good inspiration for you guys. The whole point is that you guys should see what is possible, and then you should want it for yourself, and you should do everything in your power to make that happen, make that a reality. Because if there are people out there consistently making 100%, 150% on their positions, there's no reason why you shouldn't also be making that type of return for yourself. Okay, there's a lot of money to go around in the markets, and each of you have your own slice of the pie. All right, so again, this should bring to life what is possible and what you guys should be working towards, because as I say, you don't need to settle for crumbs of returns in the markets. These big returns, they're very possible and it's very easy to achieve. Now, I have been in the markets for 10 years, guys. So this stuff is like second nature to me now. The good thing is that you guys are going to learn how I conduct myself in the markets and what I do. And that'll give you an insight into what someone who's got 10 years of experience does. So there'll be a lot of takeaways for you guys. It'll be good. It'll be insightful. So listen, up on the screen is one of my positions that I was in. As I said, closed out the week about 50,000 up. For some of you guys, that might seem like a lot, but all of you guys can achieve it, honestly, all of you. Now let's jump into the charts. Okay, so listen, guys, the first trade, was on Microsoft. This is the first one that we made an absolute killing on, guys. And what I told the guys was over at the Patreon is we want to be waiting for $430. Once it gets to $430, we're going to enter into these call options. Remember, if you expect the market to go up, you enter into call options. If you expect the market to go down, you enter into put options. So I made it crystal clear for the guys. 4:30. All right, set your alerts at 4:30. When you see 4:30, you jump in on these call options, and we take it up to $440. Okay, so a lot of the members jumped into this. A lot of the members made well over 100% on this, and I'll share a particular member with you in a second. But on this topic, what I want to say is, listen, a lot of you guys asked me what brokerage you can use to get into options trades. Remember, options basically just allows you to maximize your returns, and that's what you want to do. Okay, so if I want to make money in the market, I'm not just going to go and buy Microsoft stock and just hold it and, hope it goes up 5%. No, if I want to make 100% on my investment, I'm using the options market. So brokerage, if you're in the UK, there are 2 good brokers. One is Interactive Brokers. The second is Webull. Okay, those are two solid brokerages. You can get both of them. As a matter of fact, there's also another one. Now I'm thinking about it. Tastyworks. So there's three Interactive Brokers, Webull, and Tastyworks. Okay, those three brokers, you can get yourself set up very easily in a matter of minutes, and you could start getting in on these option plays. So, second thing I want to talk to you guys about while we're here is what I call the instrument selection. Okay, the instrument is just the ticker symbol. So this instrument is Microsoft. Now, if you noticed, as you'll notice as I go through these names, these are well-known, well-established names that I'm trading options on. That's done deliberately. So I'm not picking something very random in the market. I'm not doing options on a penny stock or a $10 stock or something that nobody's ever heard of, something that's just obscure out there doing something ridiculous. I'm doing it on the highest quality names that exist in the market for a reason. And that is the fact that their share prices are not susceptible to manipulation. Now, by doing that, it means that these are going to follow the blueprint more closely. They're just going to veer off course, which is what happens when you start trading stuff that is subpar. Okay, that is very low quality. And that being said, you can see one of our members here said he closed out of that Microsoft position for 110%, his call options, and yeah, he was pretty much speechless, guys, which is what is going to be your initial reaction. Once you start hitting these plays with me, you're going to start, this is going to be initial reaction. And then over time, you're going to start to be like, okay, this is just what happens all the time, right? It's going to start to become just normal, right? But shout out to this guy, a very active member in the Patreon. He definitely got into all three trades. I definitely saw all of his profits. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal, guys. So Microsoft was the first one. In terms of, am I going to be trading Microsoft next week? No is the answer. Okay, so this week we were all guns blazing on Microsoft. The whole community, hundreds of us got into it. Hundreds of us made great money on it. But going into next week, what I was saying on my one-to-one calls with the guys this week is we've moved into what I call low altitude territory. Okay, so that is prices moved higher. The data that we have at this elevated level of 430 is less than it was at 440, is less than it was at 430. So that means we just take a step back, wait for some more price to accumulate, some more structure to be built, then we can execute again. Okay, so timing of when you get in and when you get out, or when you get in and when you put it on the watch list or not your active list, is very important. Okay, next one, guys, was Google. So this was our second trade that we got into. While I'm here, let's see, pick out a member. So we got Raul, big up Raul from over the Patreon. He made 85% on his Google calls. Okay, so as you can see, this is how we scale our accounts. This is how we make money today, not in 60 years, today. And this is the best way to maximize your returns in the market. So once again, big up Raul, but let's go to the actual charts. Now, when it comes to Google, and to remind myself, so I said to the guys, we must see a move above 172, which we saw on Monday. So the guys had their alerts on that set. I'm going to enter into call options, and the actual call option was the 172 strike, expiration 6th of December. And I said the target price was 180. Okay, let me just break that down for you guys. So once price moved above 172, what it had done is it had fulfilled what I needed it to do on a technical level, and that was going to give it momentum to move to the high 170s, touching 180, right? But what I want to focus on here is the actual strike price selection, because a lot of you guys ask me, what strike price should you select? Why'd you select this strike price? What options should I select? So strike price and expiration date is going to make up the contract. So how do you select your contract? When it comes to the expiration date, all the options that I entered into this week were for the expiration at the end of the week. So the week started, think it was like the 2nd of December or something like that. And the week finished 6th of December, 1st or 2nd December, whatever. Now, the reason why I chose a 1 week expiration, the markets to close, for the contracts to expire for that week on the Friday, guys, is because I had the highest conviction in these trades, in these setups. And I knew that price would be moving fast from the jump. Now, sometimes I enter into contracts that expire 2 weeks. That is because, based on the charting, it tells me that it's going to take some more time to materialize. It might take 2 or 3 days for it to start moving in my intended direction. But in this case, just based off the setup, right? The 1 week expiration was all we needed. And that gave us an even bigger accelerated push in terms of returns. So depending on the quality of the setup and how much momentum you should expect to see in the name is going to determine whether you enter into contracts with a very short expiration date or contracts with a longer expiration date. So that is definitely something that was taken into consideration. When it comes to strike price selection, that's very easy, guys. I just go for at the money strikes. Okay, that is just going to give you the best blended. That's the best blended contract because it's going to be cheap, and it means that you're going to be rewarded appropriately when price moves in your intended direction. Okay, so this one again exploded out the gate. Once it got to that 172, we were all locked and loaded in the trade, and it pushed nicely higher through the week, allowing the guys to make 80. Saw some of the guys make 60, 70%. So a solid trade once again. Once notice that it's Google. It's a highly reputable equity out there, instrument out there. It's not something obscure. So you don't need to overthink it, overcomplicate it when it comes to your instrument selection, okay? Now, Google will definitely be one that I will trade in the next few weeks, but not for next week, okay? So again, these come off the active list, of the active roster, and they just go onto the watch list, the pending list, until we get a better settlement in the name. So it's very important when you get in, and then shifting it to off your active roster is also another very important thing as well that you guys should start to get familiar with. One thing I want to say is I often trade the same names as well. And this is what I was saying in one-to-one sessions this week. And that's very important. The reason why I trade the same names and I don't just like bunny hop around from one name to another name to another name to another name. So if you're on the Patreon, you'll notice you see the same types of names. The same 10 instruments will come up over and over again. And that is because you have to build up familiarity with how they move and how they operate. If you're bunny hopping from one name to another name to another name to another name, you are not building up familiarity, right? It's a hard word to say, with how it moves. But if you trade the same types of names, you build an intimate understanding of how it moves. And because of that, you're able to identify these opportunities easier and then just execute on them as well. So that's a top tip for you guys as well. Stop bunny hopping. Just have a few select names that you rotate around, and you'll build up a solid understanding of the behavioral patterns of those instruments. So I'm very familiar with how Microsoft moves, very familiar with how Google moves, very familiar with how all these names move. So it allows me to, again, when I'm executing, just execute with the highest conviction, because I've been looking at these names for years and years, and I understand how they move. Let's move on. All right, time is ticking. The last one, guys, was TSLL. Actually, let's see what one of the members. All right, Hawaiian, hopefully I said your name right. He said, thanks. He took 50% on TSLL, on the TSLL trade this week. All right, let's jump into the charts. Firstly, guys, if you don't know, TSLL is actually just Tesla. It's a 2x leverage position on Tesla. So in the back pocket, I have some of these leverage positions, and all they do is to just accelerate my returns. So I often trade a leverage position on Nvidia, a leverage position on Tesla. So it just moves twice as much. So you're going to be rewarded twice as much, basically. So happy days. I said to the guys, we want to see a move above 24 in the week, and we want to see a push higher towards 26. As you can see right now, it's 27. So it went a little bit higher than my expectation. That's all good. A lot of the guys jumped in, rode it from 24 to 26. What you guys should start to see is, okay, I see how he does it now. He waits for a certain price point, gets in, and he's got a target price point. So you're like riding a certain leg of the journey. Let me speak to you guys about expectation when you're in the trade. So I remember speaking to on my one-on-one sessions this week, and I asked the individual on the other side of the line, I said, what do you expect to happen once you enter into a trade? And they said, well, I just expect to be green by the end of the day. That's not correct. You should actually expect it to go against you temporarily. This is because what the market likes to do is likes to throw out a couple of these little traps for you. Okay, it likes to throw you off your game, and the easiest way to throw you off your game is making the trade go against you to start off with. So MSFT for the first day was down a little bit, but all the market wanted you to do was just exit your position, and then it exploded higher the next day. So what I'm trying to get you guys to do is be confident and relaxed when you're in a position. And the best way for you to be confident and relaxed when you're in a position is just to understand that the market is going to try and throw you off your game initially. All you need to do is hold steady, be calm, stay relaxed, understand the dynamic of the market, because there's a lot of psychology built into the market, right? Really and truly, that's part of my accelerated growth in the markets over the years, was just understanding the psychological element of it. Understand that the market's going to try to throw you off your game initially once you get into a position, but then it's going to reward you massively if you just hold through that temporary phase, which often lasts a day or two. Okay, so that's what happened in one of the names. I think it was Microsoft, but all of my guys know that anyway because I coached them over there every week, and they just remained in the play, held it, and they were up massive. So TSL pushed very nicely up to about that 2760 mark, and this is a name that is going to be high on my watch list for next week. All right, so if you haven't already, make sure you're keeping an eye out for TSLL for next week, because this thing can definitely go higher. Okay, now your entry prices is going to be important, and once I take a deeper look into that, make sure you're in the Patreon, because I will tell the guys before markets open what price points we're looking at in this particular name to make entry in, to take advantage of the next move that is getting prepared to make. All right, so guys, that's quite a lot of takeaways for you. What that does is it gives you guys an insight into how you should approach the markets, what you should be thinking, and what you should expect. And all of this is just going to serve you guys very, very, very well. All right, so if you haven't already, make sure you set up your brokerage accounts, get active, all right, get your watch list going, and just jump in. Start making money in these markets, guys. A couple of weeks left of the year. We're looking to end strong. As a matter of fact, all my guys on the Patreon, if we were just to end here, we've had a ridiculous year. But we're not ending here. we're still going hard. We're still packing the heat in the run up to the end of the year. So guys, that's the video for today. Drop down some comments below. Catch you guys next time.